Hey, let's see if I can make this a coherent signal, because there's so much information that's interrelated to it, of so much electrodynamically linked bits and bytes of uh, information, right? Map reading information. And that is that I had, again, a beautiful experience this morning with Aaron. Aaron lives upstairs. He's a young man. And so if you followed along my videos, some of the drama that I have shared with you of living in this house, right? When I first came to the Big Island here, not in 2017, but in my most recent visit when I got here, when was it, Mama? November of this last year, right? And so now I'm staying in a house in La Hoi Hoi, and those that know the history of La Hoi Hoi, the vortex, you know, the Big Island, the largest shield volcano, right? Vortex mechanics. And so therefore, what I experienced this morning, because I've shared this with everyone in my videos, right, that I had people. When I got here, it was just Aaron and I. And the owner, Jason, lives in Signal Hill, which is in Long Beach, California, okay? And so what happened is that a friend of Aaron's, which is a female, right, who's a heavy-duty fentanyl, I mean, this is going to blow your mind. When we talk about fentanyl will kill you and all that, Aaron told me this morning she's on 300 micrograms of fentanyl. I'm going, holy shit, right? And how this relates to spirals. Now, when I first met this lady, how do I put this? Well, I'll just explain it this way by virtue of what I've experienced, by experiencing what's going on, particularly through Aaron, okay? So in other words, when it was just me and Aaron, then all of a sudden she came here, and she was waiting for her boyfriend to get out of prison over on Oahu. And this is all related to crack, right? Blowing holes in your energy field, right? But in this lady's case, it's not just crack. It's heroin, methadone. Okay, so I've been there. Remember, if you've paid attention to a lot of my stories, why I came in here, when I came in here, we all came in waves of communication, right? Aquiferian, indigo shields, because the encryption on the planet too badly damaged to open any gates. You know how atoms are, right? They cycle. Love to be in balance, by the way. And why that is, right? That means the atmospherics, the spheres, the atmospherics, the pressure, the balance and the pressure between a hot and a cold magnet, you know, are in perfect balance, which means the lines of communication of how voltage communicates with other units of voltage, right, between sound and light, we're all in balance, right? Experiencing the unified field, the EFFI field, right? And so I did a little thing on CERN earlier, so I don't want to get too far out and end up producing a convoluted video because of the direction that I actually wanted to go in here, which my purpose was to simply explain how the spirals work in real time, right? Or dead time. So you know what dead time is, right? Dead time is dead energy light. There is no time with dead energy light, right? Because you realize it's lost in space because the fragments that represent the one, which is real light, which is real time, which is real consciousness, because that consciousness has a soul, right? Arcing with spirit. The spirit that is represented by the essence of that spirit, integrated with a soul, arcing powerful scalar bands of consciousness-directed energy that is in balance with all the atoms that are cycling water worlds. Okay, so what you have here when she came into the house is an associate of Aaron's, but without getting into my whole history of dealing with drugs and drug dealers in the CIA, okay, you realize that once you got a habit going, right, an addiction, it takes money, electrons. So they control, I've mentioned this before, they control the front and the back end on all that. Traumatize and abuse the children, and then feed them drugs, right? Because they're not being healed. Through love, right? And how you can actually measure that over time space using a Barlow point, or if you will, the quantum probability function. How much time do they have before it goes nova, right? And so in this particular case, I'm monitoring, I'm scaling her energy, and so it's repulsive. You know how it is. I'm repelled by that energy, but we can, as a Manu, I can naturally balance it out, right? That's what I do while I'm here. Okay, I work. Aaron acknowledged this morning that he realizes that one of the biggest reasons that I'm here is not just because I can plant my monopole, my monad magnet onto Mama's big pole here, right? The largest shield volcano, but also to help Aaron. Okay. So I told him this morning, I said, I know you know this when you see me going out there planting my feet, breathing with the tree, hugging the tree, bare feet planted to the soil, working with the sun, breathing in and out, breathing in and out, breathing in and out, breathing flowers, baby, breathing pink diamond flowers, right? Aaron acknowledges that. Okay. And so over time, since I first got here in November, Aaron has done a miraculous job. He's recovering. He's recovering himself. And he knows this, okay? And one of the ways in which you can see how this works, because I was aware of this when I'm a little kid in elementary school, okay, is that when other units of consciousness realize that you're learning because of your level of intelligence being connected to the one, the EFFI field, means that you're spinning data, information, at a higher rate of speed than they are. So they acknowledge that unit of consciousness, that soul, is learning at a higher rate of speed than I am. Okay? And therefore, that curved space potential of experiencing more of what we're given love to is advancing its own cause at a higher rate of speed. Its own cause, its own self-directed cause, which is the underlying causality of what we experience through atom spheres. They're in perfect balance. So Aaron knows how to do this. And he's making really great progress. So if you go back to November, when I first got here, where is it now, you can see the effect of planting the feet on the ground here and putting a bubble wrap over the house, right? And maintaining the balance in here. Because I've noticed a lot of behavioral burn pattern changes in Aaron's own electromagnetic spectrum between acid and alkaline of the improvement. Because I observe these, like he's using more spirulina. 2 days ago, he was making a smoothie, putting mangoes and the rest of this in here, right? He's been on a fast for a number of days. That means he knows what he's doing. Okay? Now, in correspondence to that, you know what a correspondence is, right? We have the other lady upstairs that I just mentioned to you, right? And it's just like in school. When they realize that you're running at a higher level of intelligence, and Aaron and I talked about it, they want to stick that little dagger in you. Anything to agitate you, piss you off, show how much they hate you. How much they hate you because you were learning at a higher rate of speed how to experience absolute love connected to the EFFI field, the eternal one, the first atom cell, the silver seed, a gold standard, which is the highest conductor of conduct, right? And so what you see happening now here, and I'll just give you the short version on this, Aaron got his car stolen. Do you remember that? Aaron has a really nice, and I love these cars for going off-road and places like that. It's a vehicle that's made in Sweden. I forget the name of the car, but anyway, it's a fairly expensive car. It money's relative, right? But I think it was worth somewhere around $14,000, $15,000. And somebody stole it. He came in one day and he said, "Hey, Robert, my car's gone." Okay, well, he found out what happened. And that is, yeah, the girl upstairs, without Aaron looking, got the key. Aaron had 3 keys. One of the keys is missing. So they were able to drive it away because the way that the keys work with this particular vehicle, it's got a chip in it, right? So unless you can make a clone of the chip, you're not going to be able to start the car. So he realized that somebody who knows me did this. That's obvious, okay? And so, that's right. He realized the lady upstairs did that. He also realized that the reason that he had lost his pink slip and a bunch of other stuff was, that's right, you guessed it. Yeah, the same spiral. So what's happening here is that it's not like she's not aware of it. Aaron's getting better because his habits are changing. He's now getting rid of what was once being held captive in memory. That was just holding his spiral down from experiencing a greater recovery of recovering the energy and the fragments that have been lost over time space. So as this other being is experiencing the improvement and the recovery that Aaron is now experiencing, what do you think she's doing? The opposite. We call that Twisted Sister. Dark Mother Creations. You know what a twisted spiral is, right? Twist it. Right? Twisted spirals. So it's in reverse. And so what you see happening as Aaron's spiral is gaining and recovering, right? Hers is going the other way because now she apparently is wanted. Yeah, that's right. And so at one time, because they're really good at being able to what we call window dress, masking technology, which means the owner, Jason, when he got here, thought that these two were You know what tits up mean? I no offense to boobs. You know how this is with words and the language, the lexicon of language, the DNA. Alhambra, Alhambra, Alhambra. We love you all. So anyway, Aaron and I had a little bit of a talk this morning. And so what's happening is that one is collapsing on itself at a higher rate of speed. That's the point of this memo. Her spiral is collapsing at a higher rate of speed, while Aaron's is increasing his at a higher rate of speed. You see how those spirals work? One gets better, the other one doesn't. The other one gets worse. Because the behavior that I observe is that everything that represents energy becomes a source of energy to vampire it. And I mean vampire it. And this means that anybody that is within eyesight of this being is a target. This is what we call a badass energetic vampire, brothers and sisters. And oh, do they know how to masquerade. Hi, how are you today? I'm just fine, girl. How are you? Right? But hanging in the back of that backpack is a switchblade, a weapon. And of course, there are other ways in which they don't even need to use physical, kinetic ways of energy. Right? They become what we know as, there are masters of the universe or ascended masters of music. And then there are the masters of what? Deception. And that is the invisible landscape and the use of technology. They hide. Goddess only knows what's actually running that unit that you see in a physical form. Because the spiral is so twisted. I have certain words that I use in my own library, but I know that when I've used them with other folks, without having to explain the rest of the library, they know what that means in geometric and mathematical language. Okay. I know. So this is why I'm so happy for Aaron. Right? And so this is going to get interesting here. particularly over the next few days, right? To see how this plays out. Now, guess what happened this morning? They found Aaron's car. Yeah, Aaron's got the car back. A Subaru. That's right, Subaru. Yeah, the police found it. Now, as he told me, they trashed it, and he said that they did various things on the inside of the car, sticking that dagger in. It's like he knows they know him. It's much like being in the den of snakes, right? And then they all know who you are, which isn't who they are. So as you're improving and they realize that, oh man. See, as you're getting better and they're not. You see how that works? And that's why they hate us. And that's why they don't honor their agreements. Because it takes an enormous amount of commitment for a soul, the spark of life, to admit to ourselves, okay, what we have done to ourselves, and being willing to absolutely surrender our entire energy matrix, our soul matrix, to serve on behalf of the one, and mean it with all our heart and soul. And when you're willing to let go and stop trying to control another unit of energy that they hold captive as a source of energy to feed on, which is an inverted perception of power, then the one will know, your heart and soul, that is making that commitment to absolutely let go of every electron. And guess what happens? You will experience the eternal spirit of fire. You will now experience the unified field of the eternal EFFI field and experience the entire electromagnetic waveform spectrum harmonics, which is all the frequencies, all the codes. And that's how it works. That's chapter 5. I know that because I experienced that. So I know that from direct experience, having experienced that directly. So I want to thank you all for being here, to be able to stand witness to the everlasting truth, which is everlasting love that is always on, forever and always, equally distributed. So every unit of consciousness is experiencing the first voltage line of communication.